ライオン神エスカノール様だ。震えるさ。
Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to the channel. It's Critic Alex, and I am back with another juicy tip for you. This time it comes via one of my Knighthood members. Shout out to Tech, who showed me this. So I wanted to give you guys this tip, especially now. Thank you, Ihamba, but I can't right now. I want to give you guys this tip now, especially because the free stage, my god, the free stage half off stamina event is on right now. So we've got half off stamina for another 8 hours. So I know you don't have a lot of time to take advantage of this, but if you're watching this video when it drops, and you should be, then you do have enough time to take advantage of this. I also needed to farm up some of this before I showed you the video. I was going to show you before I actually had it done. So what am I talking about? Obviously, the free stages is where you can farm for awakening materials, you can farm for ingredients, but you can also farm for gear. And I know a lot of you guys are farming for attack gear, SSR, you're farming for HP gear, SSR, but not a lot of you guys are farming for defense gear, SSR. And I'm here to show you why you want one defense SSR set, at least for the left side. And this specifically relates to Gowther. So if you don't have red Gowther, I mean, you're going to want red Gowther eventually, unless you're like a big hipster and you're never going to get red Gowther. If you're going to get red Gowther, you can probably start building this set now. It's not even bad for PvP, although I haven't tested it in PvP yet. It is primarily used for Knighthood boss and other content. You could also use it in death matches. So it actually has a very wide applicability. And this is what it looks like. It is a full defense set. But as you can see, this is the poor man's version. So I purposely did this to show you guys that it is possible to get a lot done with little investment. So this is, you know, free to play friendly or low spender friendly. You don't have to be a whale. You don't have to max out your gear. You actually don't have to touch this gear at all, because the attack stats don't really matter for any of Gowther's stats, any of Gowther's attacks. I mean, if you're trying to do damage with Gowther with a full defense set, aka the wall, you're probably doing things wrong. So what is going on here? Basically, Gowther has this. There's two things going on. Gowther has a unique called Trickery. When Gowther does not take damage in the turn, the next time it's your turn, it will boost all allies' attack by 10%, and it's a 5 limit stack. So this is really good. You can stack up to 50% attack bonus for all allies in death matches. So that's what makes Red Gowther amazing for Red Demon, because you're constantly freezing, so you're never taking damage anyways. But this can also be amazing for Knighthood boss, because on normal, the Knighthood boss doesn't do many AoE attacks, so it would have to target Gowther specifically. And then with this defense set, you can have the Knighthood boss patience your Gowther. Patience means 0 damage. 0 damage means that Trickery does not get reset, because it resets upon taking damage. So this is the unique that we're really trying to emphasize, and we want this to stack up as many times as possible. It's sort of like Red Lizhawk's passive, but instead of just being for Red Lizhawk, it's for the entire damn team. So it's so strong. But in order to get this unique Trickery to work, you need to take a look at Red Gowther's stats. Red Gowther has extremely high base resistance, and that's the important thing. You're building up the resistance as well as the defense. So if you go over to the closet here, you can see I do have quite a few sets for Gowther. I only purchased with real money one of the sets, which is the Black Flame Battle. It does give 2% resistance and 180 defense. So without this purchase, you are going to be missing those percentages, but it's not a huge amount. It's not like 8% resistance or something crazy like that. All of the other outfits you can get are through, you know, evolving heroes and the other Gowther. I don't even have the blue Gowther, so I'm actually missing one that has 4% resistance. So you can definitely cover up for this 2% and actually get a better amount of resistance. You can actually do more, basically is what I'm saying, with a more free-to-play set if you just pulled blue Gowther, who I just have not pulled blue Gowther. So there's not a lot of whaling involved in the cosmetics. This is not cosmetic reliant. It is all in the gear. And so what you'll see, I mean, the 60% defense obviously is why I'm able to go over 7,000% defense. But even when we take a look at the gears here, you're actually primarily rolling for resistance, not defense. You want to sort of find a happy medium. But if we take these pieces of gear off, okay, we actually can't take these pieces of gear off. Just give me 1 second here. Apologies. I got to go over to Dion, and I was farming. I was farming for awakening materials, and I was interrupted. So we're just going to go here and quickly salvage a few pieces of gear. Yes, okay, now we have enough space. Let's go back, continue the video. So, even if you take this gear off, you will see that just with those cosmetics that I have, Gowther is already, we have some resistance rolled here. But, okay, with no gear, okay, this is just crap, whatever, it doesn't matter. There's no bonuses to resistance. But just with this gear, he has a base resistance of 70, which is huge. So I think his base resistance is like 65 or 66. Very, very high resistance. So you're taking advantage of that very high base resistance and the decent defense stat, although we already have the 2-piece set. And you're basically pumping up the resistance and you're pumping up the defense. Now, the exact numbers that you want to get, I don't know. It obviously is going to require testing and further insight. But this is a really good baseline for you to aim for. 90% resistance and 7,300 defense. With this much, maybe less, but I can guarantee you with this much, and I'll show you, you can patience the normal Knighthood boss. And this can even work for PvP, because if enemies will hit you with an AoE that doesn't do much damage, but they use the AoE, let's say they use Gowther's attack seal, or they use another, small damage AoE to try and just tickle Gowther with just a little bit of damage to reset trickery, you can catch them off guard with this, rather than going with a traditional 4-piece HP, 2-piece defense set, which would be something like this, which you would see a lot on Gowther to just make him super tanky for HP, but doesn't actually raise his defenses enough to patience. This will actually, although your HP is going to be lower, of course, you're going to be missing like whatever 10, 20,000 HP, you can patience a lot of attacks, and then you can, any extra turn that you get, right? Instead of this resetting to 0, it goes up to 20% or 30%. That can mean 100% the difference maker between winning and losing. So this is a really, really cool strat. Love the, level of detail and the level of uniqueness here. But like I said, you don't even need a good roll on this piece of gear. It doesn't even need to be upgraded. I mean, for the CC, if you want it for the CC, then yeah, sure, it needs to be upgraded. But if you're trying to save and you're really trying to stretch your resources, then no. These two do not need to be upgraded, especially because attack is not really what he's doing, right? It's not really what Gowther's doing. Now, you don't want your Gowther to patience in PvP if you're trying to attack seal or whatever, or you're trying to hit those ults to remove their ult gauge. But that's a whole different beast altogether. Like I said, if you're doing it for CC, you're planning on doing it for PvP, that's a different story. But for Knighthood boss and other content, you just need to 5-star these 2 pieces of gear, and then you can secondarily 5-star these 2 pieces of gear, and of course you want to roll all HP, because you want to make Gowther as tanky as possible. So let's put this in action now. We're going to jump over to the Knighthood boss. I've already done the Knighthood boss scores for this week, so this would be a next week strategy. And this will really push your Knighthood boss scores, especially on normal, right? If you're already getting 600, 700, 800 pretty easily with just, setting up Jericho and smashing, this strategy is going to make your Jericho do even more damage, because even if you're doing a really fast clear, like I hit 1,000, even if you're doing a really fast clear with Jericho in 3 turns, that means 30% extra attack. And if you're hitting 10k, that's an extra 300 attack right there. So that's huge. That is huge for it. So we're gonna go in with this team right here. We don't have gear on everyone exactly, but it doesn't matter. I'm just trying to show you what this looks like. It doesn't really matter. We don't have to do a perfect run here. I just want you to see that with 90% resistance, at least 90% resistance, and at least 7,300 defense, Gowther is hitting patience on almost any attack that the Knighthood boss does. I haven't tested the single target attacks because I've just gotten lucky and the boss hasn't single targeted Gowther. I also haven't tested the ult, but honestly, if you're getting ulted against normal boss, you're probably doing something wrong. Now, of course, for hard, you're gonna have to raise those stats. From the information and the data that I've collected with my Knighthood, shout out again to Tekken, he had, I believe, 7,500 defense, so not much more, but he had 117% resistance. So he raised the resistance up a hell of a lot, and that was able to achieve patience on both normal and hard Knighthood boss. So 115 resistance, 7,500 defense. Let's see what we can do here. And let's see, we're just gonna try and trigger some attacks. We'll get at least one AoE going that will show us that juicy patience word. Okay, so there we go. Beautiful. Turn one, we get the patience. So there you go. Single target, both of the single target attacks, the one that has a multi-hit and the one that's a single hit that applies the poison, I believe. Yeah, one of them applies recovery block. The other one applies poison. Both of those attacks, patience on Gowther, which means no damage, which means we now are all getting 10% more attack. Of course, it doesn't matter for anyone except for Jericho here. But yeah, this is awesome. It's a really cool strat. I love it. And it works. It works really well. So here we are going to just move this. You know what? Yeah, you know, we're going to move this to get her ult. We're actually going to try and record this score. Maybe we should have flashed instead of bleeding. We need to do just a tiny bit more damage. I was scared that the level 2 flash was going to murderize the beast. But, yeah, this works really well, and it's hilarious. And you could apply this, you know, if you're finding that you could roll multiple sets if you want the boss to patience Gustav and Helbram, and this also works really well. The synergy is really nice here because, oh, you know what? We cannot do everything. We should have buffed at the end of last turn. That was my mistake. We couldn't do everything, but it's okay. So we're gonna upgrade him twice, and then we're gonna freeze and bop. We don't get the Helbram buff, so Helbram actually didn't do anything here. Again, not a perfect run, but it shows off the patience. And yeah, you could build multiple sets of these if you wanted to. So that your knighthood runs could go even smoother at 1.27. Beautiful. Beautiful. You love to see it. I don't know if we're going to get a high score here. 901. No, we need to do better than that. We need to get more buffs, I believe. But yeah, the patience triple defense gear set works really well. And it pays off in multiple game modes. And this also pays off for other challenges that you will get. For example, you know, having, for example, patience on multiple characters. So if you had this full defense set, and if I could duplicate it and also give it to Helbram and Gustav, then maybe we could also pass some of the missions here, like clearing with all heroes having more than 50% HP, right? Because if the boss is patiencing most of the time with most of their attacks, you're only really going to take damage as Jericho. So it's got wide applicability. So love the detail and the level of depth in this game and with gears and things like that. I wanted to impart this strategy onto you guys as I collect more information on it, or if you have more information out there from other you know, YouTubers or players who have done this strategy and gone into more depth, I would love to see it. Maybe we can put together some sort of guide if there isn't one already out there. But the basic premise is just 6 pieces of defense. Of course, the general rule of thumb: SSR on the left, rare on the right. You may be able to get away with rare on both sides, depending on what you're using it for. But I just think this is a better idea because it future-proofs the build, you know, to last longer. And if you want to convert this into something for PvP, it will work there as well. And obviously, you really only need good rolls. I got such a good roll on this. I had to show you guys. Sorry for the flex. But you really only need good rolls on the base stat for 2 pieces, right, of the SSR gear. You don't even need good ones here. And then you need, well, you can change this for gold, so it doesn't matter too much. So let me know what you think of the Holy Knight of Patience, Gowther, the goat sin of patience. And yeah, thanks so much for watching. Subscribe and like if you're new to the channel, new to the video, I guess. And I'll see you in the next one. Take care.